Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why.
Oh, we're having another Saturday evening here, and I have a really special looking bottle. This one here is the Century Reserve Custom Blend. It's from, it's a blend of Canadian whiskeys. It's 40% alcohol by volume. It's called Lot 1525. And this Century Reserve comes from Highwood. And Highwood now owns what used to be Potter's, and they have some really old whiskeys that went into this blend. I believe the youngest is about 15 years old, and the oldest is around, who knows, 30-ish. Anyways, what I'm going to do is pour myself a dram of this, if I can figure out how to get it open. Let's get this little knife here. This should be able to just cut through any of this plastic crap that's on here. Oh, beautifully. Most beautiful. I didn't have to look for the pull tab or nothing. We just got the plastic crap off. Yeah, that's a great little knife that Jackass sent me. And here we got a wooden top cork, and that should just typical Highwood looking cork. There we go. Smells like whiskey. Now this might be a little bit of an awkward one to pour, but I'm going to pour it anyway. And I'm just going to put this right down here and let it sit for a good while I do something else. And the something else I'm going to do is pour myself a gin and tonic. There's some gin. Yeah, I got just one left. I've got this timed so perfectly. The last two gin and tonics of the year. This is more of a summer drink, and I just have some left over from last August. So here we have a glass of nice little glass of gin and tonic, and I'll be back to nose and taste this one in about half an hour because it's an old whiskey. So what I have here is a Century Reserve. It says Century Distillers, Calgary, Alberta. That's really Highwood, and it's a custom blend. This thing is bottled at 40% alcohol by volume. It contains whiskey from Potter's, and Potter's would get whiskey from different distilleries and age the casks on their own premises, and then they would bottle it as Potter's. But Potter's was bought out by Highwood, and so, or something like that. It was a business deal that worked out so that all the stocks that belonged to Potter's became part of Highwood, and Highwood has been using some of those stocks and blending them with other things. So who knows how old the Potter's stocks are or were. But there's the youngest whiskey in here is like 15 years old, and it's Canadian, and it smells really. I'm not getting that much nose. I'm getting corn whiskey. It's not very pungent. It's very, very delicate. It's very light. It's not extremely woody either, so I'm guessing that the ex-bourbon, most likely, barrels that they were using had been used for Canadian whiskey already. I'm just guessing because I'm not getting much nose out of this at all, even after it sat for almost half an hour. It is a new bottle after all, so maybe it will benefit just from a little drop or two of water. I'm going to go one drop, 2 drops. Okay, just to get some nose out of it. I don't usually add water to something this weak, but oh, now I'm getting something. This one, even if it's been sitting for half an hour, it needs a little bit of water to release some sort of come on, you. I'm getting a bit of vanilla, a little bit of caramel. There, you have to coat that glass, and then stick your nose right in there. Now it's coming out. Now there's some rye. I'm getting some rye, some minty dill and caramel and vanilla, but it's really, 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 oh, here it is. I'm getting hazelnuts. I'm getting wafers with hazelnut filling between the layers. What is that other thing? Some corn sweetness. Sweetness of the corn. Yeah, I think this is 100% corn whiskey, if I'm not mistaken. Now it's coming out. The vanilla, something grassy. Corn husks. What else? Let's see. It's got a... Wow, this evaporates fast. The flavors just kind of zoom out of there. I bet you it's going to be super smooth to drink this. Okay. I get a little bit of linen. A little bit of linen on the nose. The flavor's there. It's corn and sweetness and smells like a Canadian whiskey, but turned down to about 2 out of 10. Maybe there's more flavor in it than the nose would suggest. Let's give this a try. Oh, Oh, yeah, there's a lot more going on here. Wow, that is not what I expected at all. Okay, I'm getting something grassy. At first, I tasted fudge, and then it got grassy. And the grassiness was like a sweet grassiness, like from corn. A little bit of vanilla, a little bit of very slight amount of dill, just a little bit. Some caramel. And then, curiously, towards the end, there is a bitterness, which would suggest that this was using somewhat tired casks that had nothing left to give but some tannins and bitterness. They were definitely not fresh American oak, and they were probably ex-bourbon and ex-Canadian whiskey as well. But now I'm getting something else. Let's grab a bit of water. Older Canadian whiskey. I've had 20-year-old. I have had 21-year-old. And the 20 and 21-year-old whiskeys that I've had a lot more flavor than this. So did the 18-year-old whiskeys, like Weiser's 18, or I think they called it Weiser's Oldest at one time, or Gibson's 18, which is somewhat sweeter. And then there's the 21-year-old Canadian Rockies, which is just fabulous. There's a lot more nose than this. And so does the Weiser's Union 52. It's about like the Century 20, 21. Or the other one that had a lot more nose to it was the 20-year-old 90. But the 90 is bottled at 45%, and this is bottled at 40. Which I believe may be its weakness, but there's a grassiness. There's a grassiness like, hay bales, which I'm getting on the nose now. But still, this does not give up the vapors very easily. It's there, but you gotta dig for it. Maybe it's the subtlety brought on by age. Let's give it another taste. I remember the first taste was fabulous. Oh, there's a lot of grassiness and a sweetness. That grassiness is it's like hay. It tastes like hay. There's once again a bit of fudge note to it, and a bit of dill, a bit of not so much vanilla. There's a toffee, but the toffee is kind of thin. The mouthfeel is quite thin. It's not. It's quite watery. It's not very thick. It's not very oily. It's watery. Still, after all those flavors fade, I guess it has a medium length finish to it. And the finish is just slightly bitter, slightly fudgy, slightly astringent. Let's try that again. Now, curiously enough, on the nose again. I'm getting more grassy hay, a hint of fudge. Not so much dill and mint. I'm convinced this is like 100% corn. If not 100%, it's pretty close. If there's any rye in here, it's very little. Now I know what I'm getting. There's a bitterness. The bitterness is oak. It's oaky. Gosh, I was trying to place that flavor. That just tastes like oak. It has been in the wood for a long time, and that's what's coming out now. At first, it tastes a bit like fudge, and it tastes a bit like hay. But then it's like chewing on an oak toothpick. Okay, now I'm getting the influence of the wood. Now, I wasn't getting it before, but it takes a while for this one to open up. It takes a long time for this one to open up. And the fudgy notes have become oaky notes, if that makes any sense. It doesn't seem to be woody at first. It seems to be like nothing, but then the flavors of the wood come out as this opens up slowly, slowly, slowly. You got to spend some time with this one. I don't believe I've spent enough time with it, but I'm sure that as the bottle goes down from here and on down, it will get better. I'm pretty sure this thing has been cooped up in the bottle for some time, and what a strange looking bottle it is. It's like something out of the Arabian Nights or something. It sure does look. It does grab your attention on the shelf, that's for sure. And I've had this since the month of June. Yeah, here. Yeah, June 24th. So now it's October 14th. So June, July, August, September, October. 4 months almost. I've had this on my shelf, just waiting to be opened. And what did I pay? I paid a grand total. Okay, subtotal. It was 42.08, and with the bottle deposit, it was 42.18. The goods and services tax was $2.10. The liquor tax was $4.21. The whole thing adding up to $48.49. $50. And if you like your Canadian whiskey to be subtle at the beginning and to not give over its flavors very readily at first, but then to have all the flavors that can be imparted by oak. And we're talking about vanilla, we're talking about fudge, we're talking about, there's some caramel, but not much. It's very subtle. And then it goes towards bitterness. Pure wood. At first, the bitterness was mild, it was slight, but as this has opened up, the bitterness in the aftertaste has gotten stronger. It's got a sweet corn quality to begin with, which I would like a higher ABV so I could really enjoy this. And it's grassy. It's like lying in a meadow, a grassy meadow. And you got that fudge and vanilla, toffee, but mostly hay. And then when you taste it, it's very smooth, but then the oakiness comes out. Wow. It took a while for this to open up, but as it opens up more, it gets more oaky. And I think if I hadn't added the water to it, it wouldn't be as oaky as it is. So perhaps this one is best enjoyed without adding water. That's what I'm thinking. I think adding the water was good for getting some of the nose out, so I could actually nose it, but I think it contributed to the vanilla. I'm going to try something. Well, I will come back to this later, most probably, a few months from now. But, yeah, long story short, if you like a bitter oaken finish, this is the place to go. I think it would be better at a higher ABV, like 45 or 46, or even 50. And then you would get more of the nose out of it. And perhaps the alcohol would mask the bitterness towards the end. It's an older Canadian whiskey. It's a little different. I think the bottle will get better as it gets lower. To your very good health.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.